in any part of 21st century, what we first like to do is introduce the themes of 21st century to the students. This particular year, our first theme is geography and culture. So in introducing that theme to the students, we put out some of the predetermined requirements that have been developed by the 21st century team to the students. Then turn over to the students those themes and receive their voice and their ideas in terms of how they want to approach the aspects of those themes, giving the students an opportunity to determine what it is they want to learn about geography and culture of the world. In collaboration with the students, we then come up with some questions that they have. We take those questions and develop them into categories. From those categories, the students develop what they and we call the essential question. The essential question basically is a writing prompt that the students will use and guide them through their study of that particular 21st century theme.
When your group can show me that you have all your definitions, which is what I need to see by the time this class period is over. So if you split these up, you only need to do 2 or 3 words each, or you can do partners, whatever you need to do. Okay? If you finish that, there is a next step, so it's great if you can finish this quickly, and I'll do the next piece with you as well.
In the vocabulary group, we all got words that described the certain topic for the culminating event, and we all divided our words. So we each were in a group, and we all got a certain amount of words, and then we all had to choose like a game that the whole community could play together with the group. Like some people chose memory, some people chose to play bingo with it. It was just kind of how you can learn the words in a fun way. The definitions, how you use it. So that's what the vocabulary group did. An example of a word was involuntary for healthy lifestyles. So involuntary, like how like your heart, it beats involuntary. It just keeps going. You can't control it.
Some of the strategies we used. We used a lot of teamwork, and we used a lot of techniques that we've learned over the years of how to come up with information and how to, I guess, make something big into something small that's easy to work with.
Kathleen made an observation that a lot of questions that she noticed were related to obesity. So Haley, it was just an observation that she made.
Worked with a group who was coming up with activities for an essential question, and I gave it over to them and I said, here's our theme, and how are we going to come up with activities based on this theme? And they all grabbed a computer. I had one student create a Google Doc, shared it with everybody else. People were putting clips onto the Google Doc. They were putting games onto the Google Doc. They were looking for videos, movies, anything that they thought pertained to the concept that they were working with. So again, really student driven, and they were the ones who were in charge of coming up with activities and websites and games for that culminating event.
We were given a direction to find activities, movies, or maybe articles, I think, to go along with the theme of our culminating events, and we set off to go online and look for games or activities or books or anything to help explain the culminating event more. And I think that's about it.
Taylor, the point with the essential question is it should cover.
We didn't really have individual parts. We all worked as a group, but then we split up into separate groups so that we could talk about how the essential question came up, and that's how we got our group. Well, the groups of culture and then world, debit, money.
There was a student that came up with an idea for an event for our team where we would decide on 3 cultures, like, significant cultures. And we would transform each one of our rooms into that culture. And then we would have the music, and we'd have the foods, and we'd dress in the clothing. And so when somebody came in, it was like they walked into this whole other part of the world. So that would be the big culminating event. And so, and then we would be able to go to the field trip to the International Festival, which would totally tie into that. And you guys had put down field trips for that. So we could talk about what would be a really good name for that theme, thinking about cultures, thinking about festivals, all of that kind of stuff. And we're asking about how cultures evolve or change over time. So we could even, in the transformation room, we could show the culture from where it was in the past to where it is in the present too. So that would be neat. So what do you think? What's a name?
A catchy name. What do you got, Ab?
All around names.
A what?
All around the world.
Which one? All around the world.
Culture?
Yep. Geography and culture. All around the world. So that's kind of,
Around the world?
Around the world.
Andrew.
World around.
World around.
World around, yeah. Hey, let's play. This is good. This is good word playing here.
Justin Bieber has a song called
Well, let's build on world around.
Cultural parade.
Where's the geography?
Parade around the world.
Parade around the world. I like
Parade
that.
around the world.
I second that. What? I third that. No,
So in the essential questions, I was working with the students on creating an essential question for one of the themes that we were doing. And it was very interesting. They had previously done questions about themselves in the world and themselves in Vermont about a question, and we went through all of those questions and put them into categories, and then the kids looked at the categories and said, how does this really tie in with the theme that we're working with? And then from that they came up with an essential question. So it really was built from the students' work.
The essential question is, how do cultures evolve and change over time?
It was on a big blue sheet, and we read every single one over again for World and Me. And then we smushed them up into different categories, into like 1 or 2 words, the whole question. And then we all went through and we voted on which ones we think were the best. And then we came up with an essential question for all the categories put together.
I think that we had taken the best question out of those categories, and then we had 3 categories that we came up with. So we had different categories and then we had the best question, and then out of that question we made names and what we could do for information.
If you like that, then same thing.
It's the same thing.
1 through 5.
Mr. Moore, why don't you agree?
It's not that I disagree. I'm just wondering if the big picture group has come up with a way of deciding for the community or what 3 cultures we'd focus in on. I'm not asking did you come up with the 3 cultures,
No, we
We're going.
but is there a way that you guys talked about?
Yeah, we're talking about what cultures we can focus on.
And how we're gonna get.
Okay, will the community have input in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Okay, then I changed my 1 to a 5.
For the name, is World Around.
If you guys like that.
If you guys like that. For environment, the essential question is, how can the planet be saved? So
Fist of 5.
So now for the event, it's infomercials.
Do the fist of 5.
Fist
That's
of 5.
the information commercial.
Fist of 5. Very good. Okay. Next, healthy lifestyles. Woo! Favorite.
campaign to convince kids to eat healthier food.
Fist to five.
Fist to five. And the event, which is going to be a campaign and a service cause at the hospital.
Do the fist to five.
At MC. Okay, Nick, what do you have a 3?
I have a 3 because it seems like a good event, but it doesn't really say, doesn't really convince kids to eat healthier food.
Okay, the name is
Think you want fries? Dot,
That.
dot, dot.
Dot,
Think
dot,
you want
dot.
fries? Zach?
Okay,
Fist to
5.
five.
Okay, why do you have a 1?
I guess I have a 1 because that name, I mean, I know you're saying think first before you answer a question like, do you want fries with that? But the name doesn't really speak about healthy lifestyles to me. If I didn't know that that was the unit and I just heard that title, I wouldn't know what the unit was about.
The other name we had was Lifesavers.
Yes.
So if,
So you can do it.
like, I guess we could have, like, since it's not really written down on the poster yet, we could have like a little, like a vote who wants, I think, or lifesavers.
Yeah, because we need to really ask the community.
It's not really written.
That one, there was a tiebreaker. It was like very close between lifesavers.
6 and 7.
Ready? You know what I like most about this? Can you guess? Allison, can you guess what I like most about that?
I don't like most about that.
Exactly right. It was totally done by students. I mean, I didn't pick up a pen.
You can
Fortunately,
teach
fortunately, I didn't pick up a pen. I didn't write anything, and that's probably why it came out so good. Talk about dynamic design, making a dynamic design.
We messed up on this part, because half of it, or like this part was supposed to be blue, but then it wouldn't look right down on the screen, and then so